What's up guys, my name is Ryan, and today I got another video on Persona 5 Scramble, courtesy of a livestream held by Atlus and Koei Tecmo on November 4th. This livestream, which is about 2 hours, revealed a good bit of new info and some brand new scenes on Scramble, including some new music, brand new combat, and some new cutscenes. This is going to be a long one since there's a lot to go over, so let's do this. Side note, thank you guys for the support on the recent Smash Ultimate video. I want to try and show some bunch of variety on the channel outside of just JRPGs on the channel, and touch on games that I really love that I haven't really talked about yet, or series or genres. So thank you. With that said, let's mosey. So to start the stream off, we have a good bit of talking and joking around in the devs before we see the Koei Tecmo game's director, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, appear. They then go on to demonstrate some gameplay and how this game really does differ from previous games in the Warriors series. Instead of the usual hacking and slashing and that's really it, you now have quite a few different attributes to actually focus on. First off is your persona. Of course, Ren is a wild card, so he has different personas at his disposal, while Ryuji, An, and the new character officially named Sophia all have one. Moving away from the personas a little bit, we see a bit of traversal for the world of the metaverse this time around, and we see a new move titled Phantom Moves, which allow you to jump across, spin through poles, and evade detection from enemies. Honestly, looking at this, I'm getting a lot of flow motion vibes from the Kingdom Hearts series, and I'm not complaining about that, especially if it's pre-nerf like say Dream Drop Distance. Going back to personas, we see that of course you can use your personas in battle, but it goes a bit further than you may think. When activating a spell, there's an area of effect radius that you can use it in, and you can see as well which shadows are weak to said spells. Of course, when you use it, your SP lowers. We also see a bit of gun gameplay as well, in which you can hold down your gun's charge, I believe with R2, for a massive attack that goes through multiple different enemies. This can allow for a ton of combo potential with how enemies are knocked down after if they're weak to it, say like pixies for example. Gotta say, one of the best looking aspects of Scramble at the moment is just the raw combo potential you can get with characters, and the gameplay isn't just so hack and slash. There's actually a lot of different things you need to look at. You know, your SP, your personas, what you need to do with your actual moveset and everything. It gets me excited that the combat can actually be really in-depth compared to just hack and slash all the time. There's also some interactivity with the world using your gun, with Ren using his to blow up a metaverse cop car. Metacar? Metacop? I'm gonna call them metacops. We also see that when an enemy is stunned, you can do an attack on them very reminiscent of an all-out attack. Though I'm not exactly sure what triggers it. I believe it might be due to the police cars, though I'm not really sure to be honest. Then, we see Ren using a Showtime attack. When the meter next to Ren and his persona are full, he as well as the other thieves can use a Showtime attack. Though sadly, it does seem like it's only tied to you and your persona, and not other party members, with Ren using Pixie and using what I believe is a screen nuke with the tagline, "Show's over." When you complete it, you get a clear splash screen with the group earning 242 EXP and 681 yen. There's also a meter in the top right with the word ban and 3 points, with a level up in the bar being at level 5. For the life of me though, I'm not sure what this does gameplay wise, if it increases power across all the Phantom Thieves or anything like that. I honestly don't know, they didn't really talk about it here. That's it for gameplay for now, and then we can get a bit of talk from the developers. According to them, Persona 5 Scramble is about developing the characters and representing their growth since their last romp as the Phantom Thieves, with the story, according to them, being a bit more positive this time around. They also point out that Makoto and Haru are actually university students when P5S takes place, which we could kind of guess. They also point out that P5S is at around 90% of development, and is now in an important refinement phase. We then get a bit of a character recap from the director, though something to point out is that they use a good bit of Persona 5 Royal footage here, even though P5S takes place after the events of Persona 5, not Royal. We then get Morgana taking over the broadcast, much to the dismay of the devs. We get a small story trailer with Morgana talking over it, and can I just say the visual of Ren standing in front of LeBlanc to come back to it got a huge smile on my face. It's seriously all I wanted from Scramble. And the next shot is an in-game scene, with the thieves seemingly finishing up a lunch in the attic. We then see Ryuji seemingly inviting Ren to go hang out, and then Ren, Morgana, and Ryuji in their metaverse clothing, with Ryuji losing his cool a little bit. I should also point out the fact that, like the last trailer, the people here seem to be a lot more aware of what's going on in the metaverse, kind of akin to the people in Shido's palace in the original. Morgana then tells us a bit on Sophia, the brand new character in Persona 5 Scramble. Sophia is described as someone who lost her memories and seeks to discover herself alongside the Phantom Thieves. Though they would not say if she's a regular person or not, though going off the last trailer, it's a safe bet she isn't. We also get a bit more detail on this detective from the last trailer, officially named Hasegawa Zenkichi. I think that's how you pronounce it at least. Or as I like to call him, Shido with hair. Him, as well as the government, seem to be tracking Ren and the group. Kind of odd they even would after the events of P5, but whatever. They also describe Sophia as the Jose of P5S, but she doesn't look like an egg. Her persona is also Pythos. As well as this, we get a confirmation that the Morgana reports will be making a return to P5S, like how they were there for Persona 5 Royal. Going back to gameplay, we see something that I'm pretty happy about. The lead director in the game comes back, showing that the game isn't just the hordes of enemies that you have to fight. There's actually some classic Persona 5 stealth action in there too. We also see that you can collect certain boxes that are the same ones as the ones in Mementos from the last game. We see too that whenever you switch to another character, you get a baton pass effect to them, though it's unclear how much it actually helps in the character. What I really like though is that every thief sort of has a different attribute. Ren is hard hitting and agile, while Ryuji is heavy hitting but slow. It's something I really like, to be honest. After cutting away from the game for a second, we get a mid-boss fight at the top of the buildings, fighting a Night Shadow from the original. Though, as to be expected, the fight isn't exactly as easy as that. On the top, we can see the enemy has 4 symbols that I believe show armor, and the more of them you destroy, the more damage the enemy takes. We also see the equivalent of the all-out attacks in this game, with the tagline of P5, "Take your heart," showing up, though it doesn't actually kill the enemy. After it's defeated, we get to the top of the tower, and a treasure appears, though we don't see what actually happens after you collect it. Before we head to some new info on the website, we got one more thing from the devs related to the save data from P5 and P5R for Scramble. On your PS4, if you have save data for P5 or P5R, you get Takeover and Last Surprise as background music options, and on the Switch, if you have save data for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Joker or not, you get the same. We also get an official confirmation that tomorrow, at least at the time of this recording, we're going to be getting a trailer for Ren for P5S. Though strangely, they're still calling him the protagonist, so I guess we'll have a point where we get to name him. Odd, but okay. On the website, we get a bit of a video for Morgana called the Morgana Newsletter, and it shows off the first area for Scramble, which is Shibuya. It doesn't show off too much more than we already knew, aside from showing this new character named, and apologies if I mispronounced this, Alice Hiragi. If you've seen the previous trailers, then you know she ends up being the woman in the metaverse that we actually have to stop. But in the end, that's it for the stream. It's a lot, isn't it? Honestly, whether P5S is a sequel to Royal or the original, I don't really care. The gameplay looks like solid fun and looks way more in-depth and interesting than most Warriors titles. But I love the fact that it really is a direct sequel. I got a big smile on my face watching the thieves just going on a big adventure, Ren showing up with Blanc, everything, it just gets me excited. And I can't wait to play it next year. My hope though is that, even though they didn't want to comment on it, I hope other characters are going to be making appearances in some way. We know Sojiro, but what about Hifumi, Iwai, what about Tora? There's a great deal of potential with this being a sequel, and I really hope they decide to go all out with characters. So, what do you guys think? Comment below and let me know. Thank you all very much for watching, and take care. Signing off. Peace out.